Is it possible to digitize realistic embroidery? Yes, it is, and today I'm going to teach you how to digitize it. Stick around to the end to learn all the tips and tricks. Let's go. To digitize this realistic image, we're going to utilize the Design Doodler, and if you guys are interested in checking out the trial, make sure to click the link in the description. But if you already have the Design Doodler, then make sure to click this video up here to check out a full walkthrough by John Deere on how it works. Let's get started. Here I already have the Design Doodler opened up, and I'm just going to turn on my hoop so that I can import the image. This is just so that I can scale it up. Let's click here, and here's the screenshot that I got. This image I got from Unsplash, so thank you so much for the person who took the photo of this. And I'm going to click this button up here so that I can activate the image and move it, resize it, and scale it to the size that I want. Now this is very interesting to me because I've never actually done realism before, so this is a really cool test, and it almost brings me back to when I used to do art in high school. I loved trying to replicate things with a pencil and just trying to make them look as real as possible. So now we get to do that, but with embroidery. I'm going to grab the image, and I think I'm just going to turn up the ratio all the way up. I know normally I want to keep it at 50, but I think it just makes it a lot easier right now for me to see where everything is. So what colors I want to use. So for example, this line right here looks really dark, so I probably want to do it like that. Otherwise, if I lower the opacity, it looks a little bit gray and it's a little bit difficult to see. First thing that I probably want to do is take care of all of the black colors. So all of these black parts right here, all of these, try and do it in a way where it's almost like sketched out, and we're gonna work from our darkest color to our lightest color and then see how we can create that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do it all with a single stitch. I feel like that's probably the best. It's gonna be more of an artistic take to this design as opposed to like a super crazy like, oh, everything is perfect. So when you're doing this, please remember that rule number 1 is to have fun and try different styles. Let's get started. I think I'm going to just kind of outline this first like that. I don't know if you guys can see that line there. I'm actually going to enable 3D. I'm basically just going to go almost like back and forth. Can you see that? Here, I'll take off the image so you guys can see that. I'm just trying to do something like that. And although it's not perfect, we're going to fix it afterwards. Let me enable the image once again, and I'll make sure to click on that red button so I continue with that same outline. So I'm just going like that. I'm trying to do the shape of the glass, and although I could just add a fill to this, I have a feeling that it would look a lot cooler and it would just almost have a much better texture if it's like this, because when it's 3D from the threads, I feel like this just will look a lot better. It'll look a lot more realistic, or it has more shape to it as opposed to just being a flat tatami stitch or something like that. So this is just what I'm testing out right now. Let's see. Again, I'm just gonna unhide the image. It looks pretty cool. We're just getting started with one color, so of course it may not look the most awesome thing yet. I'm gonna go around here, just start doing these shadows, and here I'm going back and forth a little bit. So that one right there, is it better like that? Yeah, I think that's okay. And here we can add a couple of these. This is gray, so I'm probably going to be mixing it up a little bit with gray. I'm just trying to go through all of the darkest spots. I feel like it's a lot better. Here I'm only gonna do one single line, and I think this part right here is very dark, so I'll probably do this in color black, and then the other will be dark gray. So here it looks something like that. We can move up over here. Let's create this little shape right here. Then almost kind of just start sketching that like that. Looks cool. And here, same thing. I'll do one. I'm going to sketch it out. It's really fun to play with these shapes. It's very interesting that, you know, all of the little details that this class has. I really like it. And that's what I've always enjoyed when it came to doing art in school, is like the ability to really just, you know, have your imagination with a painting and try and almost recreate things that exist in real life and use your hands to, you know, recreate them this way. So I think this could be dark gray, but I'm just gonna leave it as black. That way I can connect these two right here. And same thing with this. This looks a little bit more like dark gray, but I'm still gonna turn it into black like that. Yeah. And there I'm gonna try and give it a bit of a shape. Like that. Awesome. Let's wow, that's a lot of the dark colors, so we're going to try and imitate it. Once we start adding the gray and the light gray as well as the white, I feel like this is really gonna pop all together. So I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it, and I think I'm gonna try and get a gray backdrop, like a gray fabric, so that it looks exactly like this image or as close as possible to it. So that's pretty cool. I think that looks nice. I'm just gonna do a couple more passes, something like that, trying to be as accurate, but again, we're still trying to be more artistic in a way with this drawing, or this digitizing. I forget that we're not drawing, but it really feels like we're just doing that. And I'm just gonna return this by doing the zigzag right there and come back like that. Let's see. Different thicknesses. I think that looks awesome. Let's move a little bit more up here. Now this one is very dark gray, so I definitely don't want to be touching that one with the black thread. So I'm just going to finish this part right here. Whoops. Do my best to go all the way. That was a little bit off, but no problem, because I'm still gonna kind of add this effect of the stitches. Do back and forth a couple times. Right here, not so much, and just return one more time. Here, you know what? Let's actually add one. Whoops. Just for fun, to see what it looks like and to add more of like a solid outline. End it there, and we can go back now. And let's finish this part right here. Perfect. Let me move. Where else should I go? I guess we could finish this area right here. So you know what? Let me go back up this way, do a couple zigzags. I'm going to move this like that. Perfect. And let's take off the image and see what that looks like. Whoa, that looks pretty cool. That already looks like a glass. I feel like I maybe should have added a little bit more here, but that's okay. I have no problem with this at all. Now, if we grab it, it should all be one single stitch. And we can see the stitch length is 3 millimeters, run style, bean style, none. Perfect. Awesome. We're done with the black color, so now let's move on to the dark gray. One of the cool things about the Design Doodler is I can change the canvas color, so I think I'm going to switch it to something like a solid gray, and then I can still enable the image, and the image will go on top. But this is almost going to show me the similar shade of gray, so it's a lot easier for me to see where I should be putting the colors. I think that's pretty awesome, and it's giving me a better indicator of the colors that I should use next. So let's start doing the dark gray. Let's go some dark gray. This is probably a pretty awesome gray right here. And we could probably start in the same spot here. So again, I'm just gonna stick to that one. I'm gonna disable 3D just to make it a little bit easier and faster to load. And I'll probably start right here, and I'm gonna just do the inside of this right now. Can you guys see that? Is that easier to see? Something like that. Cool. And then what we'll do is we'll almost just do this part right here. Like that, kind of like a shadow. So again, I'm going to disable the image, and I'm going to enable 3D, and you can see that's part of the shadow. And this part, because it's supposed to be blurry, I think I'm just gonna space it out a little bit more and not be too accurate with the shapes that I'm creating. Just space it out like that. Give it more of kind of like a, what would it be called? Like a blurriness effect. I think that looks cool. Bring it over here, add the shadow effect. Cool. And then go all the way down this way. Zigzag, zigzag, blurry style, and bring it back down. And bring it up here. Do a couple lines like that. Cool. Bring it all the way around. And you know what? Let's bring it back one more time, and do one shadow like that. Oops. I'm gonna try to avoid creating too many like curved lines, because I'm still trying to make it a little bit more zigzaggy looking. So I'm just adding that effect to it. Let's see, 1 to 1. Aw, nice. And I feel like this is actually gonna go underneath the black color, but we'll see for now. I don't know 100% yet what the color order will be. This is the feeling I'm getting from it right now. Let's go back here. We'll add a couple more like that going inside. And now we can start taking care of more of those medium to dark gray colors. Like this, for example. This can go like that. We can start doing a round. Go around, create that shape to it, like so. Let's keep creating these shapes that make the glass look so nice. Have you guys done realism before? And if so, what's your experience been like? Please let me know in the comments, because I would love to know how you guys did it, what you created. Please share it with us on our groups as well. I love to see all the creations that everyone's been doing. It's really amazing. Like that. Again, let's do 1-to-1. Cool. Yeah, I think the gray is definitely going to go underneath the black color. I think it's just going to help the black color pop out just a little bit more, as well as because we definitely outlined it a certain way. It might just help a little bit more. But then again, you know, the results might be different for both of us. So for you, having the gray might look better at the top. You know what? I kind of want to achieve this roundness. I don't know if you guys see that, but it almost looks like it's rounding like this. And I can't tell, is it the front glass? I think it is the front glass, of course, but is the back part of the glass affecting it, you know? It's a very interesting shape. Here I'm going to take advantage of that outline that the black was created just to finish this part off right here. You know what? Let's not do it all the way just because the white is going to be there. And what we can do is actually come back one more time. Let's almost add a couple of strokes right here and add this effect to this part as well. I'm gonna try to not imagine too much of this design or this image. And this is an issue that I did have a lot in high school when I was doing art class. I was always imagining a lot of the image that I was supposed to sketch out and, you know, try to be as realistic as possible. I would end up adding things that weren't necessarily there, like shadows. And I think that's something that stopped me from, you know, really understanding the whole point of realism. Let me know if you guys have also felt that way when you were doing art, or if you were also just constantly adding your own touch to things. I feel like that's part of art anyways, but, you know, sometimes the whole purpose of it is for you to try and you know, duplicate it as close as possible. I don't know. It's very interesting. This one is more of a light gray, but you know what? I think I'm just still going to mix a little bit of that darkness. Let's disable the 3D. Move around 1-to-1. Let's see what that looks like. Ooh, enable the 3D. Ooh, very nice. That's cool. All right. Again, whoops. 1/3. Perfect. Move around to this area right here. That's where I left off. And I'm just going to add a couple of these. Perfect. Now, the way that the black is more like this, so I think I'm going to try and duplicate that, but I'm also going to add more vertical lines in a bit. A little bit of both. That, very nice. These look more vertical. I feel like right now this image is starting to almost look fake. Like this is even a sketch and not necessarily a drawing. That'd be really funny, and props to the artist who did this if that's the case. Because yeah, I'm starting to feel like this is more of like an actual drawing. Okay, let's take out the image just to see. Cool. I'm gonna try to not overdo it because it's so easy to overdo this part. But I gotta remember that we're still gonna add the white color, and the white is gonna make things pop like crazy. So 1-to-1. Nah, it's pretty good. That's more of the shadow anyway, so no problem. Again, let's go back to 3D. 1/3. Just gonna do this part right here. I'm still, like I said, I'm trying to leave enough empty spaces so we let almost like the background, whatever fabric we're gonna use, come through this reflection, as well as the white color. We don't want to overshadow everything by just filling it up. So sometimes it's kind of cool to play around with the fabric that you're using, with the, you know, the threads, the fabrics, just everything all together to create the perfect design. Or as close as possible, because there is no perfection. Okay, that's pretty cool. I like that. Nice. I'm going to add a little bit more shadows here. This is a little too light. And this part, let's go create a bunch of these shadows. I like these shadows. And let's add a couple on the outside as well, because it's not just an outline, it's a shadow. So let's see. If you find that your program is, you know, lagging just a little bit, then ensure just to take off the 3D, and that should fix the issue. Again, it depends on the computer speeds as well. So if you find that it's taking a little too long to load, then, you know, disable it every time you move it. And once you're ready to see what it looks like, then you can enable it once again. I think I'm happy with that. I know it's not perfect, and there's definitely a couple spots that I probably missed, like this part right here. Let me actually see that right now. Yeah, I probably missed that, as well as down here. But again, I'm not going for perfection. I'm trying to enjoy that. So I'm going to bring that all the way to the top. And if you don't know how I did it, there's the sequence view right here. It's the 3 layers or the 3 sheets. The silver was at the top, but I want this to be embroidered first, so I'm going to bring it first. Now the gray is going to embroider first, and then the black is going to embroider after. If you really wanted to, you could be adding a lot more colors. You could go light gray, whites, just like every kind of shade you want of like black to white. But to me, I feel like I'm going to stick to 3 different shades, and that's going to be white, gray, and black. I think that's going to be more than enough for this design, because it technically looks pretty simple. But if we have to add some more and some details, then maybe we will. All right, so let me pick the last color. Going to go to my color picker, the palettes, and let's go 1/3 for the last step. Now this right here, you can see very clearly the white part that we have to add, and I'm just gonna start sketching that out. It's all about the shapes. So again, shape right here. The highlights is usually my favorite part, and I love creating them at the end because it makes it so easy to decide. Wait, what's this? I guess I'll keep going here. Yeah. I'm still going to try and connect everything. Might be better to separate it though, just so that, you know, it's not overwhelming, because highlights can be overwhelming when you do them a little bit too much. So just ensure that if, you know, like if you're going to be adding them, not to overdo it like we did with the dark colors. Normally dark colors, you're okay to just, you know, create more of a thicker base. But at least in my experience with digitizing, I prefer to, you know, just be a little bit more light with the highlights. Create this part. Like I said, this is why we wanted to leave a little space for the highlights. I'm going to do it like that. Like that. Awesome. And there is absolutely no highlights on this side, so I'm not even going to touch that. But there is a couple here that are hidden by the black outline. No problem. I'll just go over that. Let's do a couple of these. And again, these are so light. I'm going to try my best to not overdo it. It's so easy to overdo these. See, right here, I either have the option to go all the way up, or I can choose to not do that at all. I feel like because I'm trying to do a kind of cool effect, if anything, I'm going to be very light about it and just add one line there, even though it doesn't exist. I feel like that's just gonna add a much cooler reflection as opposed to doing the zigzag. Whereas here, because this is definitely a lighter one, I could do the zigzag, or no. I'm really feeling that style that I did for the reflection, so I'm just gonna stick to that and go all the way up and down. It makes a little more sense than having to do the zigzag like that. Let's move up. Yeah, you know what? I'm so glad I did it that way, because then I can just kind of copy that up here as well, like so. And whoops, I don't want to go out the black outline, so I'm gonna go back. And you know what, I have a feeling that I'm also going to put the white underneath the black outline here. This is the part that I wanted to add this little highlight like that, and I'm just gonna exaggerate it a little bit. I think it's gonna look cooler that way. And you know what, let's do a pretty cool rim highlight around this area. Let's add another one like that. Yeah, it's gonna go under anyway, so it might actually hide it, but for now I think that's pretty cool. Okay, and let's add these highlights. Again, trying to not overdo it, but there definitely are some highlights underneath the black color. So I want to add some of those. Same thing with the rim. I feel like the rim has a couple of highlights that you can't necessarily see, but we'll add a couple just for fun. Move this around. I think I might be starting to overdo it. Guys, please let me know if I am. I totally said I wasn't going to, but I think I am a little bit. I just get so excited with the highlights. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna touch them anymore. Let's disable the image, and wow, that's looking pretty cool. For embroidery, now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to grab the black color and I'm just going to bring it down. Perfect. Look at that. And now the design is pretty much done, so let's take this onto the embroidery machine and see the final result. And that's the final design of this doodle. What do you guys think of this result? I myself am pretty happy with it, especially the fact that we only utilized 3 colors. I think if we were to use another couple shades of gray, light gray, all of that stuff, it would have looked even cooler. But this might be just the first video in a series of creating realistic stuff. Please let me know down in the comments what you guys think, as well as if you want to try out the Design Doodler, the link is in the description. Remember to share with us all of your doodles, because I'll be watching out for them, and I'll see you on the next video. In the meantime, go check this one out and keep doodling. See you guys on the next one. Bye bye.